Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today we're going to be taking a look at the new Festive Memories 2.0 Christmas Bunny Girl Frey, the Jubilant Rabbit. I think she's a pretty good character across the board. I think she'll have some value, but I don't know if you really need that. It's more of a luxury thing than anything else. She's water, magic, uses a lance on many different teams. Her ult is a support ult, single target, buffs Festive Memories and World of Fantasy allies weakness strike. Her first skill is if you ult rushed your unit within a turn and you have an ult gauge but no orb, then Frey will give you that ult orb and then give you guaranteed pierce and lower the target's everyone's weakness resistance by 75%, so it makes it a little bit easier to nuke. Her second skill gives frostbite, which does minuscule damage at the end of the turn, but increases the effect of debuffs by 20%. So the 75% weakness resistance is a bit higher now. And then buffs green orbs all gauges by 50% for 2 turns, and then further buffs the skill point gain on greens by another 50% for 2 turns. You're getting 100% skill point gain, 50% protection, 50% alt gauge on green orbs with this zero cost skill. So I think she's going to be pretty useful, but let's see how useful it actually is to have an alt orb here and pierce. Let's jump in. Alright, so this is the team I'm currently running. We've got Diablo, Frey, and then the free-to-play Ninehead, which is our single-target nuking character, ironically, just like Alphen was for Tails. And then we've got Idol Shuna without her skill fusion yet, and then Isis and Gobwa. You definitely don't need Isis here, but she does have a debuff, which is going to be enhanced by a number of things. And Gobwa with the Pierce down, which this is a Pierce team, which is going to be enhanced by Frostbite and Dread from Diablo. Means that this is going to work pretty well. And because Diablo is alt-rushing every character, that means that on turn 2, you can get access to your ults without having to do really anything. So, turn 1, Ninehead will convert 3 Festive Memories orbs to green, which is good because we have a 3 spread right here, where the first character has 3 orbs that are not greens. So what we can do is we can bring Ninehead in, and then we could take Shuna out, and then we'll use Ninehead's orb change, boom, and then we'll use the Frostbite and the gauge increase. Since everything is for 2 turns, now we have 100% skill points on these greens, 50% alt, 50% protection gauge. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright. A lot of skill points right there. We're going to overcap over 150 because Diablo's going to give us 30. We've got 1.5 Diablo, not including the protection traits we're going to have kicking in at the start of turn 2. And it's pretty simple right there. You just need to make sure you bring in Festive Memories characters to convert those orbs. And now we have no Ninehead orbs whatsoever, which is a problem, because he is our DPS character, right? Well, Diablo is going to change all the orbs to green, plus 2 rainbows, put Dread on the enemy Milim, and then lower the alt resistance and give us 100% alt gauge. So let's do that. And yeah, sure, we can watch his animation. Why not? So just dropping presents on people. Everyone on this meta is just dropping things from the sky. Diablo is dropping presents. Frey is dropping giant poop balls. It's a snowman, but it's funny how it looks. So boom. Okay. Here's the problem with alt rushing as it existed before Frey, where oh yeah, cool, we have an alt gauge, but we don't have an alt orb. Because it doesn't kick in on that turn. It would kick in at the next turn. But using Frey, this skill, even though we have no Ninehead orbs, we got an alt for him from Diablo. So using this skill generates a solo combo for characters whose secret skill gauge is 100% or more. So we use this, we'll get the pierce rate, the debuff, and everything. And now, magically, we have alt orbs. Incredible. Even though Ninehead didn't have anything, it gave him one. It took one randomly and gave it to him. So that's pretty cool. It's a bit gimmicky, because you're not always going to have that. Traditionally, alt-rushing teams are not super common. They're traditional stacking, or you get your alts from just normally sending orbs. But in the event you do have an alt rush team and you do want to send a bunch of support alts from Frey or whoever, this could be kind of fun. And then the debuffs that come with it, weakness resistance 75%. So including Dread and Control, let's check that out now. Weakness resistance is now 127.5%, and the 70% alt resistance that Diablo gives is now 119%, because of the status effect of Frostbite giving 20% and Dread giving 40% extra power to debuffs. So we do this, and we have 159 points. You know what, let's put some of these debuffs on. Boom. Alright, so that's all the element down. And then let's put some more Pierce resistance down, and Pierce rate, and Nine's Head's Pierce power and attack buff. And now we look at Milim, and now we have the element resistance down by 93.5% across the board, and then Pierce resistance 153%. And remember, we do not have control on this team yet. We could put Warrior's Mind Violet on this team and put all 3 of the debuff enhancing skills on there, and it could go real funny, real crazy. So let's send Frey first, and then we'll end with Ninehead, because he's probably going to kill, quite honestly. He doesn't need an EX ult because he's free to play. So we can watch Frey's ult here, and watch her poop out some snowballs. It is just entertaining. Just a giant... I mean, yeah. It's a snowman, but what do you think it looks like? Frost Descent. And she's a support ult. She's not going to do that much damage. 412. Alright, yeah, sure. But we got the extra weakness strike for Ninehead. Goblin's ult, not important. 212, sure. But then Ninehead comes in with his 100% attack, 100% pierce power, all those debuffs, and he's going to do decent damage. 3.4? I think we hit something bad. What did we not do there? That's a bit weird. I feel like we should have done more damage than that. Okay, well, let's do it again. There's no real problem with not doing it. So, we still have the Dread effect. Let's do Frostbite again. Boom. Reapply that. And then using Diablo, we can alt rush again. And now this is going to give Frey her EX ult. And then we'll give Ninehead another ult. And then we could use her skill again. Boom. And let's see. Those debuffs are still there. Let's do the Pierce power and attack buff now. And do it again. Maybe, oh no, we didn't use the other skills from Isis, that's why. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Still have not really gotten a Ninehead orb in 2 turns, but it doesn't matter because it just gave it to him anyways. So 152, alright. Frey now is going to give 110% weakness strike because it's an EX ult. So 261, and then Ninehead comes in and maybe kills? 2.4. Okay. Free to play character, by the way. We didn't really have to do use anyone in the back line. Like those could be anybody. So yeah, on a team where alt rush is a thing that is heavily debuff focused, Frey's going to be pretty good. But you know, there's another debuff team that we could probably use her on, right? I can think of at least one. Okay, Shock Surprise, Warrior's Mind, still a good team. And now you add the 3rd debuff enhancer on to control stacks from Violet, Dread from Shuna, Frostbite from Frey, and I'm pretty sure that's a 100% increase to all your debuffs. You're doubling the power of debuffs with this setup now, which has the weakness resistance, and the element down, and the pierce resistance down, and the ult resistance from Violet, and technically the dark resistance down for Blanc and Goblet, but we're nuking with Ninehead here, just because he's available. And he's in slot 1, which means that we don't even really have to use the skill point gain, or the rainbow skill from Violet on turn 1. We can just do this and the Frostbite, give ourselves the full buff here, and then we can get ourselves set up for potentially a turn 3 nuke. I say potentially based on the number of skill points. It really kind of depends on if we get another Ninehead orb. Because he's a free-to-play character, we don't need that much for him. We need like 1 more orb. So as long as we can get that, and we're already capped out on skill points, like, we're looking good. So we can probably just save Blanc's skill. Okay, perfect. We got 3 orbs. Excellent. And orange is not nerfed in Inferno. So, let's put the control stack on. Boom. Alright. And then let's do the Gobwa Pierce Resistance debuff. Or not that, but the Element debuff to help the Pierce Resistance debuff get stronger. And I think we'll run it like this. I don't really have to use that skill from Blanc yet. Because we're, again, trying to focus on... let's turn that off. Trying to focus on getting the ult for 9-head, and they only needed 1 orb. And we got more than that. 1, 2. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just important that we cap out, which we do. So next turn, we'll have to reuse the Frostbite skill, and we'll have to use the Frey skill to give us a little bit extra weakness resistance down. I guess we don't really have to, though, but well, I guess we really don't have to. Let's see how the point spread ends up looking here. Because we've got the 90-point skill from Blanc. Okay, then we'll use the skill points. So we're back up to 130. Alright, perfect. And then we'll bring Frey in for Blanc. And we will have just enough. Alright, so let's reapply Frostbite. Let's do the attack and pierce power for 9-head. Boom. And then we'll use Shuna. Give us another stack of the debuff, just to help the pierce power, or pierce resistance debuff go a bit harder. And now, let's check out the percentages of debuffs that we have on Milim. So we have 80% ult resistance down. Normally it's 40% from the control stack, so it's 100. It's doubled. Weakness resistance 100%. All right. Dark, every element resistance is 110% now. Physical attack damage resistance 200%, which 9-head isn't physical, so that's kind of one downside. Dark plus damage resistance 280%. Pierce resistance almost 200%. Like, I don't know if we'll kill, but we'll probably do a lot of damage. Probably do a lot of damage. 9-head, what do you got? 3.2 million. Okay. If 9-head... Okay, Gobwa, 6.4. She is dark, so she got that, and she's physical. So, yeah, that was super hard. But the Frostbite skill, pretty good. We didn't use Frey's first skill, because we don't have that ult rush thing kicking in. We already had weakness resistance applied. We're already getting pierce rate from Gobwa anyways, so it's like, on this team, Frey's only real use is the Frostbite, but it's pretty powerful, because it's now doubling the effect of all their debuffs when added on top of Dread and Control stacks. Alright, final team is the, oddly enough, the Antagonist meta, because it is slightly debuff focused, it is magic, and we have a stage where light is useful, the Octagram Lumi event. So using Emil's EC Rimuru, Kyokyo, Isis, and Shinsha, we can make this work, alongside Frey giving us a little bit extra weakness resistance and increasing the debuff power from pierce resistance down and ult resistance down. So, I mean, she can make her way onto a lot of teams. Some teams have more debuffs than others. Not every team needs that kind of alt orb gimmick that she has, unfortunately. There's just not a lot of those. There are some, but not many. Like, I don't really foresee us bringing her on Tournament Stalwart for Veldora rushing Lumi's ult. That seems just a bit unnecessary. But here, we can make it work. So, ooh, perfect. Almost. Well... You know, I kind of wish that Rimuru orb had a bit more, because she only changes the Antagonist specifically. And, okay, hold on. Alright, yeah, that's what I wanted to see right there. Lots of Rimuru orbs that we can bring Shinsha in for. And I guess we could, well, let's convert first, and then we'll take Kyokyo out. 36 skill points, because we have Space Milim underneath Isis to start, and then Kyokyo out. And then Frey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, doesn't quite get us there, but with protection gauge traits, we should be able to get a protection Emil's use. Hopefully, right? Quote unquote. Okay, just barely. Alright. No, we should be good here. So let's do the Frostbite now, because that lasts for 2 turns. Boom. Okay. We don't need to use this skill for anything, though, because, yeah, it's only a 1-turn thing. So let's take her out. Let's bring Exalted Champion Rimuru in. We'll do the Rainbow Alt Swap. Yeah. And then all these other things are 1-turn buffs. So, you know what? We're going to use Kyokyo next turn anyways. Let's do his Vitalization skill just for funsies, which will enhance the gauge increase and damage for oranges, and also give us an extra 25% alt gauge at the end of the turn, which we don't really need. We only needed 1 ult for Shin, or 1 orb for Shinsha to get the job done. But, hey, it is what it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Capped out. Good. Plus we have the extra 25 points from the Heartscape in case we need to use it. There's the Pierce rate, so it's like we're getting it from Emil's. We don't need to use Frey for that specifically. If we have enough, we could use the weakness down, but only if we have enough. So 180 points. We've got, I think, 108. Actually, I think we can with the Heartscape. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Okay, so that is magic attack, weakness strike, alt resistance down, magic resistance down, alt damage for light and dark characters, pierce resistance down, and then let's bring Frey in for Isis, and she costs 15 points, so we'll use the Heartscape, extra 25, and that will allow us to use this. So extra pierce rate. Okay, cool. And then we'll convert the hand with the mills. So now we can look at all the debuffs that we just applied onto Lumi, and they're going to be enhanced by a little bit. Not nearly as much as the Warrior's Mind team, but pierce resistance down 78%, magic down 39%, alt resistance down 156%, weakness resistance 97.5%. And this Shinsha is going to annihilate. So I actually haven't seen... I don't think I've seen this Shinsha alt for a while. So, I mean, yeah, Frey can work on a number of different teams. Obviously, her orb gimmick is really only useful for her team. She's very much a luxury character. Like, can you use her on teams? Yeah. Are you going to go out of your way to put her on those teams over someone else who's going to be doing a bit more for you? Probably not. So, she's cool to have, she's good to look at, but all in all, like, I don't think you need her. Like, she doesn't make or break the game like Warrior's Mind, Blanc, and Violet do, or the new Masked Hero does. Like, she doesn't have that kind of authority. So, a good unit, yes, but really not gonna be your first choice on every single team, unlike other characters. So, overall, pretty good. Could be better, could be a bit more useful, but certainly not a bad character by any means. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below of this new Frey. Am I overselling or underselling her? Are you going to be using her on a butt ton of teams because of her skills, or do you think she's also a luxury unit? Let me know your thoughts. But that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.